there's a beginning of learning, and the internet has helped, and there are a lot of people studying now, and there are even Muslims who are teaching Islamic studies.
Well, the thing is fragmenting, and it's a real crisis, and I don't think people realize the severity of it. It's fragmenting. I mean, I was just in the Middle East, and people, they're having rave parties in Saudi Arabia. This is globalization. I mean, it's a very different world, and the older people they don't know what to do. They're just, there's not even a word in Arabic for rave party yet. So.
Well, one of the appalling possibilities, there are people now who work in development in Dubai and other places in the Gulf who say that over the next 15 years, they expect a transfer of capital of $2 trillion into the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. That is to say, the Gulf countries, excluding Iran and Iraq, practically speaking. $2 trillion. At a certain point, does the Gulf become a center of gravity around which the Muslim world begins to rotate? And if so, what kind of a society is being created there? It is a frightening prospect.
It's a good point, and it is happening. It's becoming a hub. There's an incredible amount of activity there. And it's very exciting. People, I mean, you're there, and things are happening at an incredibly fast pace. But the disruptions to the society itself are immense, and they haven't yet dealt with that. I mean, it's something Suzanne George talks a lot about. How fool and his culture are soon parted. That it's very difficult for people outside of Western society to realize how much of Western dysfunctionality is embedded in Western technology, in Western ways of doing things. That it's a complete package. There's an idea in the West, and I think the Iranians really were at the vanguard of this idea that somehow we could modernize without westernizing. That was a very common motif in a lot of the writing in the 60s and 70s. Not being aware at how much of what's going on here is actually part and parcel of the breakdown of the family, the dysfunctionality with drug use, all of these things, because as life gets faster and faster, people get more and more disoriented and start having a lot of real problems. And that's already, it's happening there. And they don't have the social sciences that we have. That was one of the things I was trying to convince the ministries, start using social sciences, because you have to understand your society, like what's happening. Interview these young people, find out what's going on in their mind. The only people that are doing that are the marketing companies, and Procter & Gamble did a study called the Emerging Arab Consumer, and identified 4 types of Arabs in the Gulf region: the wee-wees, the wee-mees, the me-wees, and the me-mees. And they said that
that sounds very California.
Actually, I think the guy was from California. But they said, the wee-wees were the older ones who were more communitarian. The family and the culture were more important than the individual. And then the we-me's were, the culture was still important, the family, but the individual was starting to emerge. The me-we's, the individuality was more important than the culture, but the culture was still important. But the dominant group that they said that was emerging was the me-me's, and they could care less about the culture. They just wanted Prada and Gucci and, MTV.